All right, it is once again that time. We are hitting the books. Bowl edition number 2, part of the Hammer Betting Network, alongside the man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. Home of multiple Loge boxes for Lions playoff games. He is Joey Knish. I'm merely Brad Powers. Zach Phillips at the controls producing what we call this great show. Before we talk what we just saw as far as bowl games and a current one going on right now, we'll get to some of the picks that we have for the upcoming week's games. And then, as always, hit the books on the Hammer Betting Network, powered by Circa Sports. You can bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. It's Circa Sports. Experience the big app bets with the highest betting limits, better money line splits, lowest hold percentage, best customer service, and more. It's sports betting on the go. It's never been better. You can download Fun and Bet like a pro from anywhere in the state of Nevada. Get your new bookie today at circasports.com. Knish, before we talk college, I got to talk about the Detroit Lions, 7 straight covers, and I got to ask you, it's not only a possibility. We're talking almost likely. You look at their schedule coming up, I mean, there's not an unwinnable game on that schedule the next 3 weeks. Detroit,
7 straight covers and 7 more wins to go, baby. 3 to finish the regular season and then 4 to hold the Lombardi Trophy. I saw I mean, I tell you what, there were some Campbell Coach of the Year numbers that I think I'm going to jump off my roof that I didn't bet during the middle of the season. Granted, I don't know if anybody could have seen this strong of a turnaround coming, but they are live. They are live, baby. And if apparently old Jalen Hurts' shoulder not feeling too well, I don't know if there's anybody in the NFC that wants to see this Lions team in the playoffs. So
the 49ers?
That'll be listen, Niners, Eagles, Cowboys, Vikings, bring them on, baby. We can win anywhere with this team. So I hope they. I know I was on You Better You Bet last week, and Costo said, you know how this is going to end, right? It's losing to the Packers in Green Bay in Week 18 to ruin that, and that would be very Lions. Right. So I'm going to pretend that scenario is not going to play out, but we'll see. At least it's been a nice run to get back into it. And on some great Hitman and Pizzola trolling here with, they were all Lions best fan, all the public square. Oh, I should have bet everything on regular season win under. Well, what happened? What happened? All the numbers cash, baby.
They did, and then some, and they're not done yet either. So, kudos for them. Obviously, a major turnaround. One of the biggest turnarounds we've seen in season of any NFL team ever. Let's talk some college football. Did you get a chance to catch anything on Saturday? I know there's a lot of NFL going on, a lot of exciting NFL. We're talking about a 33-point come from behind win for the Vikings. Did you catch any of the bowl games, the first 8 or 9, and any early observations that you got?
Yeah, I was basically just on the couch for about 12 hours Saturday, taking in the bowl games. Unfortunately, I also took in the first half and third quarter of this game. The dump. Jim Mora should get a statue for getting this team to 6 wins. Because
oh my god,
I just had a guy in the group chat text me. I don't think the UConn would win the Patriot League because oh my god, I don't know how this.
Well, Holy Cross would beat them.
Yeah, right. I agree. So honestly, you know what? I would say the first 3 bowl games were not particularly appealing. I think you've seen some of I mean, Florida was a total no-show. Wazoo was a no-show. To be honest with you, I watched about 15 minutes of the Fenway Bowl. However, the night slate, our Southern Miss Golden Eagles came through. It was 7-3. They're on the 4th and 1 on the goal line, and I'm like, oh my god, that as soon as they kicked that field goal, I said, you know what, that feels like a bad omen. And then all of a sudden they're down a touchdown in the second half, but thankfully, we got the cover there. I think that was definitely the right side. And you know what? I mean, even the late games, a little bit of at least we had some drama. So overall, a decent slate. Started off a little slow, but hopefully we get now a little bit more into the cream of the crop of bowl season.
Yeah, I mean, for me, early impressions I'm not really surprised by too much. It was clear Florida and Washington State no-showed. Unfortunately, I was on the right side with the Fresno game, but I was part of that Florida steam. I took them at 11, closed 7.5, and no chance in hell there. I mean, it was clear though. They just didn't have it. I mean, bad on me. I thought Jack Miller could throw the football. He couldn't. They got dominated at the line of scrimmage. On the other games, I don't know. I thought that the games are. I mean, group of 5 teams are ready to play. I didn't see some lackadaisical effort. UAB, Miami, Ohio finish was nice. SMU, BYU finish as far as excitement was nice. So far, unders have been probably more, and it's understandable with the opt-outs, and that was my line of thinking coming into it. I mean, we've had 6 of the 8 games go under. The only 2 were group of 5 teams with no opt-outs. So I'll be tracking that as we move along. The Marshall game going on right now, that would move the Sun Belt to 3-0 in bowl games. Sun Belt folks, it's not the Sun Belt Conference from 15 years ago is the worst. I mean, it's making headways of being maybe the best group of 5 conference. I know the Americans up there, but my goodness, the Sun Belt right now looking sharp. But yeah, and no big surprise. The biggest one is probably the Celebration Bowl, FCS. I mean, maybe shouldn't have been surprised that Dion distracted. They lose outright as a double-digit favorite for the 2nd straight year. I mean, I actually bet NC Central, but the confidence contest took a major hit, to say the least, with a 14-point favorite losing. But yeah, in the chat, Yellow Snowman, UTSA stung on Friday. Yeah, a lot of UTSA money, and I think they were the right side.
Yeah, I agree.
Troy's defense, they do a lot of that. I mean, there's some smoke and mirrors there with their offense, not being that good, and defense gives up yards, but you got down the red zone, and UTSA just couldn't convert. I know you were tweeting about it, Troy's defense. Great first year, but Summerall at Troy didn't get enough love for what he did in year 1, 12 wins.
I agree. I mean, that was, just the tackling on that defense. Some of it looked like, I heard some people make this, like, it looked at times like a mid-tier SEC defense with the tackling and the athlete and the trouble they gave you. So, and that, I mean, that was in the biggest games that they played this year, the defense gave up virtually nothing against, to basically win the Sun Belt versus in Mobile, holding South Alabama to 6 points. And then in that game, Frank Harris probably had his worst game, in college. And so, I mean, that was a game that obviously UTSA wasn't opting out or wasn't trying. I mean, they were all in that one. I agree. I thought UTSA was, technically the right side. Troy just made the play. So, I think that was my favorite bowl game of the season so far, definitely. So, and as you've said, I think the G5 game, there tends to be, at least these early in the season ones, a little bit more effort, a little less opt-outs, a lot more entertainment value, as opposed to some of the Power 5 teams that, if you're going to one of these who gives a damn bowls and you've got a dozen opt-outs, it's looking like quite a slog for depending on the I mean that is not some of these Power 5 teams are not putting a great product on the field.
Let me ask you this: are they better served just opting out of the bowl game? Do we start seeing that? Not players. I'm talking the team just declines the bowl invitation. Because I'll tell you this: Florida would have been best served using last weekend as a recruiting weekend because they lost some recruits. Instead they're playing a meaningless bowl game, getting crushed on national TV, which didn't help the optics. I think we start seeing maybe some teams just declining bowl bids.
No, I agree, and it's like, what is the future of the bowls? Look like here with so many guys, with the new portal and stuff, and like as you're saying, it used to be a thing where we're going to get all these extra practices, but if half the team's not going to be there next year, like what does that do for? I mean, the guys who are playing for Florida, how many of those guys are going to be on the field next year? So who gives a damn if they're getting extra pay? And with the spring practice and the stuff, I mean. A lot of that, I don't know. I agree with you. I don't know if it justifies the means. And none of these bowls are making none of these grand old bowls are making money. The stadium's 10% full. It's costing the team to go. Like I agree. And this is with the early signing period. You got to be. I mean, you could lose a handful of recruits here if you're not on top of things. So yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I get for the G5 programs, it still seems to be a meaningful thing. But for some of these. The teams that especially that kind of want to hold themselves to a higher standard, like a Florida, it seemed like they're like, well, what are we even doing here? So
I do want to mention Crestman in the comments, Frank Gore Jr. I will be forever indebted to Frank Gore Jr. for that bowl win. A lot of money on Southern Miss, and it'll be interesting to see if he stays at Southern Miss or he hits the portal.
He did. I mean, this could be when you're celebrating, you're all lathered up celebrating after that. He said, I'm coming back. But, I mean, listen, if he wants, if they want, maybe they cut him a nice NIL check and he comes back. But I think he would be, he's a guy who could hit the portal and have a lot of suitors if he wanted to do so.
Doesn't have great size, but he's got the pedigree, obviously, with his dad. He's extremely versatile, catch a ball in the backfield. He's played quarterback, could throw it with that, jump pass and whatnot. And obviously can't argue with the guy that runs for a bowl record 340 yards. So, he could be in demand, could get some money. I know this is a betting show, but I like it that it's college football and we get in the weeds a little bit, especially with a few games here to talk about the next week. Wade in the chats. Thoughts on the Dante Moore news today?
Oh, big flip, baby. Flip miss.
It is flip miss. So if you're watching this and don't follow recruiting, Dante Moore is a 5-star recruit, going to be signing for the upcoming season. He was committed to Oregon in July. Just flipped to UCLA. It is arguably the highest rated recruit. UCLA's had. He's right up there, at least with Josh Rosen, as one of the highest rated recruits UCLA's ever had. So big surprise there. The tea leaves are saying that he was leaning that way the last week, but kudos for UCLA. I know Schlee from Kent State transferred there, but Dante Moore's their starting quarterback week 1 next year, in my opinion.
I agree. And you know what? I think, we've talked about him on the show a few times because he's from the area right around here, but I think he's better than Arch Manning. I think he's the best.
Oh, my God. If it's Arch Smith instead of Arch Manning, he's a 4-star, not a 5-star.
I think he's the best quarterback prospect to come out of this area in my lifetime. And, I think you saw with the Bo Nix coming back and Dillingham leaves, they open the door, and UCLA, Chip has the track record with Dorian Thompson-Robinson of he'll throw you in there. He's going to play. I mean, I agree with you. I know Schlee transferred there, but I agree. I think they told him that, hey, we'll give you the job. And, word on the street, he got quite the nice – I mean, when Michigan was recruiting him, we had talked about on the show of he started doing this visit tour, and where did he go? He went to Miami. He went to LSU. He went to Texas A&M. And then they went to Oregon. So those are 4 schools that tell me that, you're looking for a little bit more than culture fit. So I think that was a big part of it for him. And, hey, when you're a top 10 recruit and a quarterback right now, 7 figures, easy is the going rate. So, hey, and especially you never know what happens in college or any of that. So get your money now. I give them all the props.
Last question before we start getting to bowl games. Any clue on where Grayson McCall lands? Trip in the chat. I was thinking Auburn was the early leader there. Obviously the possibility he follows his coach to Liberty. What are you hearing there?
Yeah, I had heard some Auburn rumors as well. I think he kind of there was some word that he actually turned down kind of a reasonably sizable deal from Coastal for one more year. He's
Oh,
a guy
wow.
who I actually think I don't know what his NFL future looks like. So, I mean, that's a guy who should be like how Frank Harris did. I mean, that's a guy you want to get your money for your last, year in college or so. Cause I don't know if he's, got a big future at the next level. So I think that's kind of playing into, he should have a couple of high bidders there from the SEC. I know Florida's, been really trying to shop around. It depends. You've got a couple of quarterbacks still at that level, the Hudson Cards and that are looking for a suitor and probably, comparing offers. So yeah, we'll see. I think Auburn probably leader in the clubhouse at the moment, and Auburn not afraid to shell out some of the bags. So yeah, I think that would be probably a pretty good fit for Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, certainly. Would be a similar system to what he ran with Chadwell. So we'll take a look at that. Obviously, that'll catch the eye as we start evaluating teams for the upcoming season. Let's talk about tomorrow, though, because there are a couple bowl games tomorrow, starting with the Potato Bowl in Boise, Idaho. We got Eastern Michigan at San Jose State. San Jose State favored by 4, 52.5. I'll tell you, my original thought process was a lean towards Eastern Michigan in this one. I took them plus 4.5, got down to 3.5. It sat at 3.5 for about a week or so. We've seen a little bit of money come in on San Jose State here. I can't put a finger on what happened to San Jose State in the middle of the season. This is a team that's failed to cover the spread in their last 6 games. They haven't been close against the spread. It's by an average of like 11 points per game. Typically, people are going to say, well, it's great, buy a low spot, reset. But I don't know. I think Eastern Michigan is fired up. They haven't won a bowl game since 1987. They've been close in these 3 or 4 bowl games under Chris Creighton, not last year, obviously. But I'm leaning Eastern Michigan. What say you?
No, I'm with it. There was actually we got same thought process. I saw 4.5 was around town here, so went and grabbed some of that. Still, Circa's still got a 4. I agree. I thought it was a great statement of like, what the hell happened to San Jose State? This is a team that I actually bet to win the Mountain West after a few weeks of the season.
Looked good in early October.
Looked good. Thought they could contend. Just fell off a cliff, and it wasn't really like injury driven or any of that. They had a couple injured, but nothing like super significant. And just they were like scraping by to bet Hawaii down the stretch here, losing every game. I don't know. Does a month off give them a little bit of time to reset here? I don't know. I mean, I always listen. Do I love the thought of backing like a mid-tier MAC team in a bowl game that's not versus like UConn? Then no, I don't. But I mean, I agree. I thought 4.5 was a little value. I kind of like this number's the totals come down a bit. I'm leaning over here. I'm actually was waiting to see if some 51 would. I don't know if it'll get that low, but I'm gonna play some over here before probably to see how low it goes. Looks like 52 is the bottom right now. But again, these are 2 teams that weren't playing a lot of defense this year. Don't have a lot of talent on the defensive side, either one of them. I think we could see a little bit of open. And as you mentioned there, these aren't teams that are like, playing the third stringers here. I think this is a game that both teams will want to win. So lean over, lean Eastern Michigan at 4. I get it's one of the like mid-season. I would have been like, oh, San Jose State's going to bury this team. Then I can't put a finger on exactly all the things that happened down the stretch. But you just got to go with hey, what happened? So it wasn't like a 1-week hiatus where they looked bad. It was like the last 6 games. So yeah, EMU and the over for me.
Yeah, I mean, that's pure speculation on my part, but the slide happened coincided right around the time that they unfortunately lost one of those, one of their players died. I mean, he wasn't, a starter, but he might have been, a locker room guy, might have disrupted a locker room. So who knows there? That might have had an impact. Let's talk the other game tomorrow. Toledo Liberty. Liberty taking a little bit of money here. FOP, gave out Liberty today. I was a little surprised by that, but Toledo laying 3.5 here, total 53. I have not really bet the game too much. I do want to lean with Toledo, though, believe it or not. Right now I'm in the position where I kind of want to fade almost all interims. I just think there's substitute teacher effect. We saw, Liberty waved the white flag on the season after the Arkansas win. Their last 3 games, they went 0-3 straight up and against the spread. They were favored by double digits in all 3 games. They lost all 3. And how about New Mexico State? That game, put that in historical context. They failed to cover the spread against New Mexico State by 59 points. That's the worst. 59. Not a typo. 59 points. Favored by 24, lose by 35. I looked back through it. I'm like, how bad is that? It's the worst performance in any game by any college team in 4 years. I went back to 1990. It's one of the top 10 worst performances, compared to expectations, that being the spread. So I don't know. I can't bet on that team. I just, people are going to say, hey, buy low. I don't know. But with that being said, I don't have a bit. It's just a lean for me because Jason Candle sucks in bowl games. He just sucks, period, especially as a favorite. Nobody does less with more than him. I know they're off a MAC championship, but that's the only reason I'm leaning Toledo. I'm just not a big fan of Jason Candle. What say you?
Yeah, I don't have any action on this one. I agree. I saw our friend of the show, Tailgate 10 here, played some Liberty. Again, this one, like, there's so many unknowns for me. Like, it just raw number. If I knew Liberty, like everybody was, healthy and going to show up, should Toledo be -3, not -4? No, but as you said, coach leaves. Not sure who's going to be playing in the quarterback rotation. How many guys here are just mailing it in and hitting the portal? They've got some portal opt-outs already. How many guys are planning to leave or following through? Like, there's just so much here that like it doesn't want to draw me here to a Liberty position, even if just looking at the number here. And as I said, like Toledo, I think this is one. I'll have it. It's a night game. We'll have it on. If I get a sense early of looking either way and wanting to get involved live, that would be the look for me. But I just don't want to get involved in this one pregame.
Agree. I think Liberty possibly not being there, that's priced in. I mean, I think pure raw numbers. I think before the slide, obviously would have had Liberty favored in this game. And if we're talking middle of November, yeah, I agree. I don't want too much on that one. This one, though, I am intrigued because let's go down to New Orleans on Wednesday. We got the New Orleans Bowl there in the Superdome. We have your Fighting Jaguars, however you say that. South Alabama favored by 4.5 against Western Kentucky. We've seen this line move all over the place due to the in and out status of Reed, the quarterback for Western Kentucky. He's hitting the transfer portal. He has second thoughts, or he must have gotten a decent NIL deal. Now he's back playing. I like South Alabama here, so I'll let you and see if you can confirm, but I like South Alabama quite a bit. They're just a damn consistent team. I mean, 10-2. Their 2 losses are by a combined 5 points, against UCLA on a last-second field goal against a damn good Troy team. On top of it, Western Kentucky, yeah, Reed's coming back and playing. There's a hell of a lot more other opt-outs, several defensive players, couple of offensive linemen that aren't going to get properly priced into this line. I like South Alabama. I question, Western Kentucky if they're locked in here.
I was going to say, you think you're going to have to talk me into South Alabama? I don't think so, sir. All you had to say was South Alabama, and I'm clicking the button. But I agree. I think a couple of it, like two, you said of the strengths of the Sun Belt so far and how good the conference has looked versus a Western Kentucky team that, again, I mean, that is just like college football in 2022 bowl season right there of like Reed opts out. Then there's like, where'd you going? Oh, he doesn't find anywhere. He comes back. The line's moving like just all over the place. I mean, this opened up like pick and the earliest line, then got up to over touchdown. Now back to 4. I'm with you. I think at 4 or better, it would be a South Alabama to me. I've been on both sides here, just playing some news. But I think was waiting to see how good of a number we could get before post here on South Bama to then double dip and add more to that position. But I agree. It's a Western Kentucky team that, I think they took advantage of some very porous defenses. You said like to kind of, inflate some of those numbers. They started off slow, hit a mid-stretch here. But again, I think you've got a kind of a significant talent delta, especially with the opt-outs on Western Kentucky here. And it's, as you said, it's a South Bama team that was legit all year and just couldn't put a drive together in the second half for Troy to catch all our numbers here. So yeah, that one still stings. But hey, yeah, that would be the side I'm looking at. I'm just kind of waiting to see if we can get a little better than 4 here to reinvest in South Bama.
Agree. I'll tell you what. If you want to see a meltdown. For me, if Marshall doesn't cover this spread, I'm gonna be fucking pissed, man. I'm telling you right now.
Here with this. I think I think the second half here, Marshall, had already thought they were holding the trophy here of the Myrtle Beach Bowl, and they're ready to hit the beach. So yeah, it's get a little sweat.
I am in much more than I should be. Laid 9.5 at a dumb opener. And also, I would be in sole possession of first place in the Nugget contest with the Marshall cover here. So I'm going to be pretty upset. If I get frazzled a little bit, that'll be the reason why, folks.
No quitting this Jim Mora team. I was acting like I looked at when it was 14. Oh my God, this UConn team. Like I was looking at the live line, like 23.5. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. Utah pick or a UConn pick. Listen, to throw out the record books when Jim Mora's in a bowl game, baby. There. But let's keep going before you totally, you're really come unglued here.
Fair enough. Let's talk Thursday. Let's move along. Armed Forces Bowl. A lot of money coming down to Air Force here. Baylor's down to 443.5. I'll just leave. Is there something I don't know? Was there an opt-out for Baylor? Why all the money on Air Force here?
Oh, totally weather-driven. So this was what I got got sent last night that the forecast where it was in Old Fort Worth was depending on which listen, some of these like the trashy weather apps you want to use like the best data you can, but it looked like there was going to be like sustained 20-25 winds with gusts up to 40. So that's the point where like usually you get anything over 20-25, then that's significantly affecting the total there. And even again, you're a few days out. It's wind. Time of the day too. It was dependent, so that can all change. But obviously, big move on the under due to the weather. Triple option in a bowl team, especially if the other teams are gonna have trouble passing. You get that. I will say though, this is one. It's already big. Like you don't want to be chasing that at this point now. If you're watching the show, the move's already baked in. It's already come down. Like you would be too late. If anything, to me, if it dips a little low, like if I'm getting a Baylor at 3 or a low 40s total, I would kind of be inclined to potentially look the other way if this gets a little lower. So, but yeah, just could be a little windy there in Fort Worth. Fair
enough. Appreciate that. I lean Baylor. I think Dave Aranda will have a game plan to defend the option. So I know they'll be compromised passing, but yeah, I kind of lean Baylor there. But I was wondering what the hell had happened. I thought it was just an opt-out. I thought, well, why the hell is Shapen opting out, or is he transferring out? Speaking of transfers, real quick in the chat, Dane in the chat, Drew Pine going to Arizona State to be the backup. He won't be the starter.
I was going to say with Mr. Burgett there, I don't know. Hey, listen, if you can get a free degree at Arizona State with the women that are at Arizona State, I'm not going to shame anybody for choosing that, even to go to the backup. So,
yeah, if you're a red-blooded American male, Arizona State's in your top 5. I'm telling you, I've been on the campus several times. It's a little different.
Yeah, and I would say not like Drew Pine's got a big NFL future anyway. So go enjoy the college life, son.
Yeah. Talk Friday Independence Bowl. Houston, Louisiana Lafayette. Houston up to 7. Total 58 in that one. Anything there that one thing I do want to mention real quick on Arizona State. I actually like what Dillingham's doing there. I like his staff, so that's in the weeds. But for a young guy, I thought he's put together a pretty smart staff. Former head coaches, FCS coaches, local guys like high school guys. I think for a young guy, I like what he's doing there. So that might be a buy team for me this upcoming offseason, depending on what he can bring in transfer portal. Houston, Louisiana. Anything here? I haven't had anything yet. I'm probably looking. Hoping maybe a 7.5. I'm a fade Houston. I think Holgerson's one of the worst bowl coaches. He is, in fact. The last 20 years, I think only Rod Carey from Northern Illinois and Temple has the worst ATS mark. So for me, I'm waiting. Louisiana plus the points is where I'm looking. What say you?
I can't. I'm cannot believe what's happening in this game.
It's unbelievable.
I thought this was literally. I told somebody I think this is going to be 45-0 at like one point in the first half, and now that's it. I agree with you. I was kind of waiting for a 7.5 to pop. It looks like a couple of 7.5 are out there. I don't. Like, there's nothing. Again, I don't think it's a great. I wish Houston was playing somebody, some of the other Sun Belt teams than Louisiana Lafayette, who was pretty significantly faded on this year. But again, now that it's got up to a touchdown 7.5,
That Circa was 7.5. That worries me that they're the one book hanging 7.5.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a what I know when the show sponsor the sharpest books, the only 7.5 trading out there. That makes me a little bit more hesitant, but that's the only side I could play now. Now that it got across 7, Holgorsen. Do I think he's gonna get his? He had some coach quotes very similar to SMU, who I know a couple of people who I bet with were on SMU, and I was just like, I do not trust this SMU. Like, I think BYU could show up and just run Wildcat, which is essentially what they did. I don't trust Holgorsen and his prep and his ability to get these teams, his team up. And it's not like this major talent delta here between that. So, it'd be 7.5, nothing for me. I haven't fired yet, but that would be the side I'm looking at.
Agree. He's high variance, man. I could see Houston winning this game by 35 or losing by 21. That guy, I'm not a fan of this. I'll put it that way. Speaking of being a fan, I am a fan typically of Dave Clawson and Wake Forest. Not a fan of how they finished the season. Gasparilla Bowl, Tampa, next Friday. Wake Forest, only 1-point favorite now. Missouri's taking a little bit of the money. I'm part of the Missouri money. Yeah. I mean, call me square, but generally speaking, there's been some Sam Hartman rumors. Probably this is the last game for him as a starting quarterback for Wake Forest, whether he goes to transfer portal, which I think will be the case, or he goes to the NFL draft. On top of it, generally speaking, I mean, I got an SEC team getting points against an ACC team. Give me the SEC team. So even with some opt-outs from Missouri, and they got some key ones, especially on defense and their leading wide receiver, I'm going to lean the Tigers. What say you?
Yeah, I'm with you. I played some Tigers. I was hoping for like the Hartman portal or NFL, and then be really looking good, but it does look like he's going to play, unfortunately. And then I thought we'd be sitting real pretty, but I just Missouri hung around outside of the Tennessee game. They played a lot of people tough this year. I think the defense was better, and their whole basically Missouri for them is can they run the football? Because Brady Cook, not an efficient passer, not a great passing team whatsoever. And I think they can do it on this Wake Forest defense. One of the softer defense. I mean, not like they've been known for defense ever, but it's one of the softer defenses in the ACC. And so I think Missouri's whole game plan is have a relatively good defense, win in the trenches on both sides, and be able to run the ball. And that kept them in a number of games this year. Won a number of games this year using that formula, and I think it works here. So yeah, it was. I was hoping with no Hartman to have a big bomb banger on Missouri, but now it's just kind of a normal play for now.
Fair enough. Let's move along. Hawaii Bowl, Christmas Eve, great tradition. Fond memories of Houston and Hawaii playing 20 years ago, and one of the best games in history. If you don't believe me, it's a 3 overtime game. It's very exciting. There's a major brawl at the end of the game. Houston Hawaii Bowl. Look at that one. In this one, not that great of a matchup as far as I'm concerned. Middle Tennessee, San Diego State. I'm part of the San Diego State money. I lean Aztecs, obviously, with it up to a key number of 7. I'm not wild about it now, but I think generally speaking, Middle Tennessee, they have that big marquee win. I mean, still to this day, the biggest upset in college football for this season, 25.5-point underdogs. They beat Miami easily. And after that point, they covered 2 of their last 8 games. So I just thought they got over too much credit for what ended up being a very bad Miami team. And San Diego State started figuring some things out at the end of the season. I look at that, what do we think of San Diego State if they hold on to that double-digit lead against Fresno? Might be thinking a little bit better than what we did, but I thought they played all right. I know Air Force got them at the end, but they won 5 of their last 7 games. I just think they're more accustomed to being on the islands. It is a unique trip. They regularly make that trip, so lean Aztecs for me.
Yeah, I'm with. I mean, I was on some real early numbers here, getting down as much as I could. Also played some over when it was at 46.5, 47. Yep. Looks like the over's actually steaming a little bit right now as we speak here. Honestly, I still think 48's okay. I mean, they were kind of an over-buy team in the second half. I think Middle Tennessee State team is brutal. So I agree. Honestly, even this is one of the ones that even with the move, I'd still lean them at 7. Obviously, invested a number of times at a number of different numbers already, but even would still lean that way. I agree. I think they were, a kind of a melt versus Fresno away from, but getting could. I mean, this is a team that could have been Mountain West champs here if they don't let that get away. So,
Good point.
and the switch to Maben at quarterback, the offense was a lot more explosive. He adds a running element, and again, their defense is still pretty good. It's a combination of a team that was a second half bye team versus a team that I think is absolutely brutal, Middle Tennessee State. So yeah, lean the 7 there. Still like the over if you can get that. It looks like 148, 1 or 248 still around there. I'd still play
Circa
that.
Sports. That must be the Colorado feed there with reduced juice. 48. I think I agree with that. Over. One more bowl game, and then we'll open it up and see. We'll talk some of the other bowl movements and stuff and see if there's anything that Knish likes as a best bet. In your neck of the woods, Quick Lane Bowl next Monday.
What time's your flight landing? I pick you up.
It will be landing sometime that week, but not in time to catch this unbelievable matchup. I mean, I will be
seats still available for this one, if in case you're wondering.
Really? Oh, I thought they would have sold out in 24 hours. Bowling Green against New Mexico State. Look, two good stories, two good teams that are probably excited to be in a bowl game. I still have New Mexico State as a bottom 10 team in my power rings, and Bowling Green's right on the cusp there. So not a sexy matchup. Although Bowling Green's taking a ton of money. I mean, that early number with New Mexico State favored was just a bad number. Although I bet numbers, not teams, at 3.5, 4, even at Circa.
Yeah.
I would lean if that was the opening line. Like I'm Circa, 4.5 at Pro Line. Holy cow! If that was the number that I saw as the opener, I would have bet New Mexico State. So I made it BG3. You don't have to worry about weather conditions. I know the Bowling Green's slow play, slow paced, but New Mexico State started getting their offense going at the end of the season. I kind of lean over too. What say you?
Oh my God, I can't. If you're in Albuquerque and you're making a winter trip to Detroit here for the bowl season, I think they would have lost that game versus Liberty on purpose instead. I agree. Like at this point, like there's the only side you could bet here is New Mexico State. I think at 4.5. That's kind of, I don't know if it'll get there, but that'd be where I'd buy on New Mexico State. There were some bad openers here on the the total that was like the 50s. And I agree that's steamed down now to even 47. So if anything, it'll be a little look here if I can catch a 4.5 on New Mexico State for a small play. But I'd be lying if I was really wanting to invest too heavily in this game outside of maybe be doing the live halftime show with you on the 50-yard line with all 65 people that are going to be here in attendance for this one. So I don't know how we ended up with this game here in lovely Detroit, but it's one that I mean, at least 2:30 on the day after Christmas. What would you rather be doing than New Mexico State Bowling Green?
Yeah, pull behind the curtain. I think my parents might go to the game.
No, let me. Hey, tell them. We can get them some good seats. So
yeah, I bet. Oh, Trip in the chat. You said Albuquerque. It is Las Cruces.
Oh no, sorry. I'm getting my New Mexico state school cities mixed up.
Believe it or not, I drove through Las Cruces this summer. It isn't that bad. I visited the stadium.
I do believe it. I saw your summer tour.
Yeah, I went through it, and it wasn't bad. Like, I went to the stadium, like, this isn't bad at all. So I was expecting to dump, and I liked it so quite a bit. So I'm glad they're in the bowl game. They're looking for their second bowl win, I think, since 1960. So they'll be fired up. Lean them, but I did originally bet BG. Is there anything? Let me mention a couple of big bowl line movements here. Did you bet on the news of obviously Bryce Young and the defensive player? I can't even think of his freaking name.
Will Anderson.
Will Anderson. Thank you. That news. Did you roll with the Tide? I was already on the Tide, believe it or not. So I think Alabama crushes Kansas State. Am I being too square there?
Yeah, I wasn't able to get a full fill there when the news dropped because books were pretty on top of that. So with tried to grab, so I think I ended up with like the best number I got was 4.
Yeah,
but yeah, I would lean that. I mean, I'm shocked to be honest with you. Like I would have laid a good price that neither of those guys would have played. But yeah, that's one now that I mean. I think we said it, on one of the shows. Like if Alabama on a neutral was -5.5, -6 versus Kansas State with everybody playing, it'd be short. Well, now it looks like everybody's playing. So outside of a couple of receivers that are hitting the portal, so yeah, I would agree with you. I'd still lean Bama at this one. I got one for you that is still current that I like very much. That honestly, when the bowl season first started, I thought it would have been on the other side, but. What is this? What is the actual name of this stupid bowl here? The ReliaQuest Bowl. Anyway, Raymond James Stadium, Tampa, Florida, Mississippi State, Illinois. I actually, once some word came down of who's not playing for Illinois, I bet some Mississippi State +2.5 here. I bet more +2. There's still a dog in the market everywhere. Even a couple of 2 still out there, 1.5, 2. You had Illinois' best corner, first-round corner, Devin Witherspoon opt out. You had one of their best safeties, Sidney Brown, opt out. I think Chase Brown, Sydney's brother, obviously the Illinois running back, is going to opt out, and potentially one of the Illinois insider was saying a couple other guys on the defense who are NFL prospects opting out. So and they've got a left tackle that I think is an NFL prospect. So it's an Illinois now, and you go to the other side of the ball. Apparently, from the Mississippi State side, with the Leach, they want to win one for Leach, all that. Apparently, everybody's playing, even Emmanuel Forbes, who's their first-round corner. Apparently, he's in. I don't think anybody's opting out. They have this, we want to get together and win it for coach. So I think you've got the angle that you're going to get a locked-in Mississippi State. Again, just normally like the air raid. Do I like the back in bowl games? No, but information changes. Illinois, you could see, I mean, at least we know 3 of their best players aren't going to play. Could be up to 6 of their best players not going to play. Flip to Mississippi State side. Looks like everybody's going to be in. And you've got the win one for Leach angle there. So I like Mississippi State as a dog, and I like it quite a bit, and I still like it at the current number. So anything there?
Yeah, my dumbass bet Illinois.
I liked it, but I agree with you on the open. Like I was totally with you. Like when this first dropped, it was an Illinois play. It was Illinois. I think they're going to be able to run the ball. They're deep, and then. As things changed here, I thought I had heard some Mike Leach health. I just thought he wasn't going to coach in the game, and then unfortunately he passes away. So you've got like a total kind of shift in kind of the and you got to be flexible this bowl season. So I was agree with you. It was Illinois early for me, but I've flipped over to now being on the cowbell side.
I don't disagree with current information. The reason I played it, not only was I leaning towards Illinois, fading Mike Leach in a bowl game, extra time to prep, he's terrible as a bowl coach for his offense. There was also going down, I mean, if you remember, one of the key players at the transfer portal, and there was that locker room issues, a couple players at the transfer portal for him, and got after Mike Leach a little bit because there was a secret recording. So, I mean, I played off of all that news, but the news has been, I think, all one-sided since, and the one-sided being that it's been pro-Mississippi State. So I do not disagree now. If you want to make it a best bet, I am not going to disagree with current info.
Yeah, I agree. I was waiting on, like, the Chase Brown said he was still deciding, and he's one of those guys, like, I know you would say running backs don't, but, I mean, I would put him in, like, the Blake Corum category of what he, and even more so because there's no Donovan Edwards on Illinois. So if he doesn't play, I would say I'm okay. I guess I fired now. I'm okay playing it now, but I think Mississippi State, especially if Chase Brown is out.
They'll close favored.
Yes, for sure.
Lock that in. I'm not going to disagree with current news. And I think that's an important lesson as news changes. And I kind of told people this. I mean, look, I bet a fourth of these bets, I'll probably be on different sides, not only because crossing through key numbers, but different information. We got a month almost, in this particular game's on January 2nd, a month in between games with different information. You'd be an idiot not to, I'm going to stick to my guns. You can't be like that. So I agree. I don't disagree with that one. Any other ones catching your eye? As we're doing this, Florida State's taking some steam. I agree with that. I bet them early in the process. That line, in my opinion, probably closes 10.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you on the Mike Leach stuff. The only concern there was calling the plays offensively. That would be my only concern there. But anything else catching your eye here?
There's a little the word on the street is that Mr. Dorian Thompson-Robinson and Charbonnet are both going to sit for UCLA.
Yep.
Do I love the Pitt? I bet some Pitt based on getting that info. Again, this is one where now Slovis is out. I think Pitt's best defender's out.
I heard a Bennett opted out today. Running back.
It's like you got a bunch of opt-outs on both sides here. I'd still lean Pitt at 3.5. I think it's kind of I can see like can they line to play a little bit more defense? Running there. But it kind of went from a real strong Pitt play for me to now the opt-outs on both sides. The under's already taken some money, so I'd still lean Pitt at the 3.5 or 4. But not as bullish as I could have been if Pitt had a few more guys playing.
Under's moved, 5+ points. What's your thoughts on the under? I don't think it's done moving. I think I could see it closing 52.
I can't. I'm watching UConn get inside the red zone here.
It's just unbelievable. And it's why I thought when I put it in, I was getting some I knew I was going to get some CLV, but I just do not trust Charles Huff and Marshall. I mean, beat Notre Dame, lose to Bowling Green. I mean, just consistently, you don't know what you're getting with them. You don't.
And just bowl season, I think this is a good case for bowl season. I do more like middling and a little bit more of like the old, the spanky top down approach in bowl season than I normally do. If I'm going to be exposed on a side, it's going to be lighter than I normally am, just because it's really you really don't know what you're going to get. This is a game that
I don't know. I mean,
this could have been like a 35-point game in the first half, and now UConn's in the red zone. Trying to make it a 1-score game. So
it's not only the first half. I mean, Marshall went right down their throats the opening drive of the third quarter. Took up 5 minutes, 28-000. What at any point said Connecticut could cover? Could they score?
I thought this was going to be like, a 42-0 game, and now they're, this is a man.
If the live line was 35-something at that, I wouldn't have bet Connecticut at that point. I mean, I was thinking 42-0.
I agree. Yeah. So, this is just a wild one. So, we'll see here if Marshall can hold up. But man, this is Bulls 22 in a nutshell. This game.
Anything else that you got? North Carolina over taking a ton of money, and I'm not going to disagree with it with the opt-outs on their secondary. You got Drake May and Bo Nix locked in, so don't disagree with that one. I'm just looking here.
I just can't.
Are we doing so best bet? Are we just going to do one best bet, or you want to do two?
Do you feel strong? I don't have a too strong of an opinion on like the early games this
I'll
week.
lay 4. If we can find, if Zach, our outstanding producer, could find me 4 on South Alabama, I'll own that one. I'll lay 4.
Yeah, I'm with that.
If we can get 4, I think DraftKings, Caesars, Bet Online, I'm looking at it, Bookmaker. I'll lay 4 with South Alabama. That way we have some action we can talk about when we do next week's show.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so we'll do that. Real quick, we'll talk about this game. Do you expect any movement on Georgia Southern Buffalo? I want to forget Marshall for a second. I want to bet the Sun Belt against the MAC. So I guess we should wait and see if a 3 pops. But I think Georgia Southern's the right side there. What say you?
Yeah, you were doing the same, kind of leaning the same way there. I think Buffalo team that like significantly overperformed this year, especially at their talent level, even in the MAC. There you go, Marshall.
They look terrible down the stretch.
Like horrific, like miracle to beat Akron bad. Georgia Southern, the only thing, I wish this is another one where like you wish the teams were playing other teams you could fit, because it's like an air raid system in a bowl game. Again, but I agree. I think that would be the only side I could play would be Georgia Southern. Obviously said Sun Belt team, Buffalo like super overvalued. So yeah, it would be a Georgia Southern nothing for me. Was kind of hoping to get a little bit cheaper, but we'll see.
In the comments, real quick before we sign off here, Trip, do you guys think in-game betting is better in bowls than betting pre-flop? Yeah, I think there's a good solid case of that. Although this Marshall game, I would have gotten crushed if I was live betting. Yeah, I think there's something to that, especially if you have a position that just looks dead wrong. Like I'll use the example of Florida. I took Florida plus 11. I mean, I wasn't feeling too comfortable. A little bit maybe just because I'm optimistic and at the end of the half. But I mean, as soon as the second half started, you knew that was dead in the water. So yeah, if you want to get off positions, why not? I can see that. Well, do you do a lot of in-game live betting?
A little bit more during bowl season, just because, like, as you
Yeah.
said, like with the schedule, you're only getting one game at a time. There's not a ton of other games to bet during that, so just it kind of frees me up to kind of focus in on the game a little bit more. And there's a little bit more like liquidities out there with a lot of places posting the game that's on. So it's a little bit more available. To be honest with you, though, I haven't there isn't a game so far where I was having a massive live position or anything on one side. So hopefully the opportunity opens up for one of these, but as you said, like, this is one that I agree. If I would have been, if there would have been a cheaper Marshall number out there earlier in the game, I would have been way underwater here. So,
and I would have been betting, probably the under too when you get a big lead like that, and you got one team that just can't do anything offensively. I mean, Marshall just runs the football, and I would have gotten crushed if I had a live bet this game. Thankfully, I'm going to thank Rob and Alex and everybody out there for saving me. If I was doing this show, I probably would have been partaking in a little bit of it. So on a Monday afternoon with not much to do. Anything else to wrap it up here?
No, I think that does it now. I'll give a Crestman. Does Michigan hit? I
don't think it gets that low.
I don't listen. I one shop got to a 7, and I was actually able to get a juice 6.5. Also played some 7. If you can get, most places don't allow this these days, but if you can get like a 7 minus 120, I would do that. I agree with you. I think that's probably as good as it gets. If anything, I think it trends back. Yeah, up.
I think it goes back to where it started at 9,
I agree.
9-ish. I don't think it goes to 10, but I don't expect it to come down. Patrick, real quick, anyone releasing plays? Yeah, there is a couple guys releasing plays right now. That's why I'm getting a little antsy besides the Connecticut Marshall game. So yeah, there is somebody releasing plays. That's a market influencer. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe, guys. And as always, you've been watching Hit the Books on the Hammer Betting Network, powered by Circa Sports. You can bet like the pros with the world's largest sports book right at your fingertips. It's Circa Sports. Experience big app bets with the highest betting limits, better money line splits with the lowest hold percentage, best customer service, and more. Get your new bookie today at circasports.com. For Joey Knish, for Zach Phillips, producer extraordinaire, I'm Brad Powers. You've just been watching Hit the Books. We'll talk to you next Monday.